Okay, so today we are going to be looking at 8.3, which is line graphs. So can you please write that? Now, when looking at a line graph, as it says, a line graph has lines. Now, a bar graph has bars. So a line graph is actually made up of straight lines joining points. So a line graph is a series of points joined with straight lines. A line graph is often used to show something that happened over a period of time. So, for example, rainfall we've had over the last month here in Brisbane, and time is always shown on the horizontal axis, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But that's something you need to remember, that time's usually always shown on the horizontal axis. So can you please write that down? Alright, so this is a line graph. So as you can see, a few important things to remember when we're constructing a line graph. You need a title, that's the title of the graph. You also need labels on each of the axes. The horizontal axis here, you need a label, and also the vertical axis. Alright, another important thing to remember is that the graph will actually start at 0. So you always have 0 down here on the vertical axis. So you always have, where the vertical and horizontal axis meets, you always start with 0. Now you can see that days of the week is a period of time, so that is done on the horizontal axis. So that's an important thing to remember. Alright, then we have a series of dots, and so we're plotting the dots on there, then we join them with line segments. So that's how we construct a line graph, and this is showing the amount of push-ups done each day of the week. Now, as I said, the line graph always has a title. Very important. They always put a title for the line graph. It has a vertical axis, so you can see the vertical axis is labelled as Y, and the horizontal axis is labelled as X. Now, like I said, time is usually shown on the horizontal axis, which is this one here. So can you please write that down? Alright, now it's up to you. What colour is the Y-axis and what colour is the X-axis? So I'll just give you a moment, pause the video and think for a moment which colour is which. Alrighty, well, you should have realised that yellow is X and the red is the Y-axis. Alright, now when you're organising a line graph, the X-axis is always a horizontal, so the bottom one, and the Y-axis is always the vertical one. They usually start with a 0, like I said, and you need to really make sure that the intervals on them are equal. So you have to do them in equal increments, like we do for a timeline when we're in history. You need to make sure that the intervals are equal. And of course there must be a label. So can you please write this in your notebooks while you pause the video? Okay, we're actually going to construct a line graph now. So you can see that this is asking you to plot the temperature in a room at hourly intervals. So as we know, time needs to be on the horizontal axis. So we need to label the horizontal axis as time. Then we need to label the vertical axis as temperature. Alright, we need to label, of course, the whole graph. So we could label that as room temperature. Okay, Now we need to look at we need to obviously start at 0 here. We need to see what the best increments would be. So I can see that it goes up to 23, and it seems to be that it would be good to do it in increments of 5 degrees. So we might do each square would be 5 degrees. So starting at 0, then we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Alright, so that should cover it all. Now the x-axis, we need to write down the times. So we'll start at 9 a.m. and then we've got 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, 12, 12:30, 1 p.m. Alrighty, now we can start plotting our points on the graph. So I can see at 9 a.m. it was 10 degrees. So I'm going to put a little dot here. At 10 o'clock it was 15 degrees, so I need to look up 10 o'clock and plot a little dot there. At 11 o'clock it was 20 degrees, so I need to plot 20 degrees. At 12 o'clock it was 23. Now 23 is sort of in the middle-ish. And then at 1 p.m. it went back down to 18. Oops. Went on something then. Alright, then we can draw our lines and match them all together. And there we have it. I've drawn the line graph. Now we needed to present the results as a line graph, and then we needed to use the graph to estimate the room temperature at 12:30. Alright, well, you can see that 12:30 is around about here. Alright, so at 12:30 it was, we look across, it was 20 degrees. So we can write down, remember we need to use our therefore. So therefore it was 20 degrees approximately. And there you have it. We've done our line graph and answered our question. Now hopefully you are fully informed about line graphs.